Okay, welcome back to Fast Performance then. My name is Tim Davies, and as you can see, we are back in the attack shack, dropping truth bombs on your personal battlefields, hoping you to win the wars you are fighting. And someone who is fighting a war right now is this F-16 pilot up against enough Su-35. Look at the size of that. That's an Su-35. That is massive, isn't it? Crikey, look at the size of that wing on that thing. When I first saw this, by the way, I thought, nah, it's not that close. I've had a look at the video again, and I kind of think it's pretty close. I wonder whether this Su-35 guys kind of got it a little bit wrong. We're going to have a chat about that, but what I have done, this is task and purpose, they're all right. Russian Su-35 evokes Cold War antics by headbutting UF F-16 in Alaskan air defense zone. Right, well, that's interesting, isn't it? We'll have a look at that. And what I've done is I've cobbled together some material which is going to give us a bit more information on this than just from one article. And what my article says then is on September the 23rd, 2024, a Russian Su-35 fighter jet performed an aggressive, unsafe maneuver near the US Air Force F-16 in the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone. The incident occurred during a routine intercept by NORAD of a Russian flight group, which included a Tu-95 strategic bomber. The Su-35 escorting the Tu-95 dangerously cut across the path of the American F-16 at high speed, in which was described a headbutting maneuver. Video footage of the event, which we're going to see in a second, released a week later, shows how close the Su-35 came to the F-16, prompting concern from US officials. NORAD Commander General Guillot labelled the Russian pilot's behaviour as unsafe and unprofessional. Okay, like anything, we're just going to break it down because this is a little bit more complicated than you realise. First thing I want to do is just rewind Craig Davis 7 days. Let's get before this picture. That looks pretty close, isn't it? I think actually what's happened is the actual Russian pilot at this point is moving that control column forward. He's kind of almost bunting, or she, away from the F-16. I think they realise they got it a little bit wrong. But also, let's concentrate on the first part of this. If you watch the proximity to this Tu-95 now, to the F-16. And what we're going to do is draw a line here. We're just going to go, right, there's the nose of the bear thing there. There's the nose of the F-16. And I want you to see what happens to this line here. This is the line drawn by Tim, age 50 and a little bit, all right? So let's roll VT and we'll just see what happens, because I think actually the F-16 is getting closer to that Tu-95. Now, because we are analytical, if you look at it, right, okay, look where the nose of the F-16 is there, and now look at where it is when that Su-35 comes past. It has moved to the left. I think the F-16 there is being moved away. He's being rolled away there, isn't he? But that bear as well does seem to be coming in, although it doesn't look like it on that red line I've drawn. It does seem to be coming towards the F-16. I think this F-16 is closing, and this dude's put himself in the middle like a boss, boss level Su-35 pilot. But I think also, I mean, that's pretty close when you look at. Let's get rid of that red line. I think he's come pretty close there, and I think he's rolled and he's pushed, because if you look at the nose of the Su-35, when you roll an aircraft like that, it obviously has positive G, at least 1 G. It should be coming across the F-16's nose, and it really isn't in a rate that you'd expect it to. So I think what's happened here is the Su-35 has rolled and he's pushed the stick forwards, because and I don't want to get too analytical here, but I can see it now. I can see something that maybe you just seen as well. If you look at the nose of the Su-35 here, and now you look at the Su-35 there, it's hard to tell, but I'm going to draw a line here. I'm going to draw a line, and I want you to tell me whether you think I'm wrong. I think his nose is going from here, and it goes out to about there. And I think what would happen if the Su-35 was pulling across the nose of the F-16 is that his nose would go from there, and his nose would carry on going across here. I don't think that's what's happening. Let's have a look at this, shall we? Oh, bit of a midway interlude. Check this farmer taking down a drone that is spraying his crops. This is cray-cray. That is madness. Su-35 then, nose is there. and I think he's bunting, and he's pushing it away. Can you see that? He's pushing that away. I could be wrong here, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Whereas if he was pulling, he'd be pulling across. Now, one of two things has happened here. Either he's rolled, he's gone, I've got this wrong. That's a distinct possibility. Or yeah, he's a professional pilot who knows what he's doing. He's done this many times before. Roll towards F-16, but push. I think that latter is what's happening, because that's not the rate at which I'd expect an F-35 to be. And I can tell this now, even by the way he rolls out. I can tell, looking at this now, is that if you look at where his nose is there, we're getting a bit analytical here, guys. I've seen a lot of this happen. I think really he's pushing. And what he's really done there is he's just said, look, you don't want to get in my way. The other thing I'm going to talk about just briefly before we go is the fact that if you're an American pilot, if you're any pilot really, and you're protecting an asset like this bear or anything like that, you know where everything is around you at all times. In this F-16, you'll have a radar warning receiver. You'll have everything, you have a radar on. You have a data link, probably. You should have at least a data link in there. And you can tell where everything is around you. And if you can't, you shouldn't be there. So this F-16 mate probably, or mateess, was looking out the back there and could probably see them coming in from a way back. And if they couldn't see them, then of course that Su-35 could have been gunning them from 2 miles out. So, you know, firing rounds into the back of their airplane. So really, head on a swivel, you should be seeing them. So an interesting tape, guys. An interesting tape. Let's watch it one more time, shall we? Let's get the sound on, because another thing you can hear as well is in the cockpit. You hear the sound of the pilot going, ah, god damn. Listen to this. It sounds like Kenny from South Park, doesn't it? Anyway, guys, I just thought I'd kind of have a look at that tape for you real quick. I really appreciate it. Keep your standards up for you and your community. All right, thanks so much, guys. Tim Davies, Fast Ship Performance.